outweighs the bad.
And that's why I said that's your opinion. I have my
Right.
opinion, and that's why we can't agree, so. I haven't had any bad interactions with Paul. They've actually all been really good at, like I pointed out, when we were doing the water sewer committee. I mean, he was right there with a lot of information.
I'm not going to try to belittle Paul anymore and try to talk you out of it at all. I mean, the decision's been made. We made the motions twice. We both obviously have separate opinions based on for whatever reasons we might have. And at this point in time, we just have, we're not making any, we're not going to, the position is going to stay vacated. Simple as that. We don't have a spot. And if it's got to go this way till the election, it goes this way till the election.
It's not how it works, Mike. It's got to be a special election. Ballot's already been printed.
Yeah, I know that there's wording in the MTA book and how it's going to be handled, but at this time, we don't have an appointment that's made. Can't agree on an appointment. Maybe. So, let's move on. Item failed. We'll move on to item 7D, the Planning Commission appointment. Back to the same thing. We have a different applicant this time, which gentleman here is in the audience, Mr. Darrell Blaylock, which has applied. He's also, if you remember him, he was also looking to fill the position on the Bruce Township Board of Trustees at the time, and I think that was when Treese did end up getting the approval to go ahead and sit on a board, appointed to be sitting on the Bruce Township Board of Trustees. Mr. Blaylock is here again in the audience. He's also sits on our Board of Reviews, and have been highly recommended by the other members of the Board of Reviews and also the people in the assessing office. He was also interviewed by the 3 committee members from the Planning Commission. As you can see in your letter, they highly recommend, they recommend Mr. Blaylock over Paul Okanowski to fill a vacated spot, temporary spot of Mike Tremblay from now until November 20th, 2024. I'll make the motion to go ahead and appoint Darrell Blaylock to fill that vacated spot of Mike Tremblay until November 2024.
Support.
Support by DiGiorgio. Open for discussions.
I have some questions. All right, so if we fill the planning commission spot right now, and we're left with a trustee spot that's open, when we eventually do fill that trustee spot, who becomes our liaison?
Well, we have to figure it out at the
Do we
time, but
bump
it's only a
somebody?
temporary spot and it's vacated at 11. The spot comes up for well, we have to figure it out at the
Do we
time, but
bump
it's only a
somebody?
temporary. At that point, if we have liaison, plus it's, and I'm just going to bring this out there, and I'm not saying that this is the direction that we're going to go. It's a lot of your, not a lot of them, but some of your municipalities and maybe some of your larger ones, they don't have a board member sit on the planning commission. And a lot of them say it may or may not be a board member as a liaison to the planning commission. So there's a possibility we may look at the bylaws and we may look at changing them and say may or may not be a board member to be a liaison. I'm the planning and zoning administrator, and I'm very familiar with every agenda item that seems to come before all the agenda items, you know, the stuff that we might have had in regards to the planning commission, but it's, like I said, it's not in stone where that's got to be. It's not like
Said must be, not may or may not.
that's how it reads right now currently. But if
So we can't do this then, because it says that one person has to be a board member.
Can
Which-
I speak?
sure, go right ahead, Anne Marie. Ain't gonna hurt nothing.
My understanding of the bylaws is what Susan is saying. It does have to be a trustee. Mike, I know you were at our planning commission meeting a little bit last week. I don't know if you were there when we had the discussion. It was at the end of the meeting. But the PC did discuss, at Mike Tremblay's request, whether or not we wanted to change our bylaws to change that to a may versus now it says shall. And we had some long discussion, including a long list of communities that surround us that do have.
I was there for that, yeah.
Yeah. The PC concluded that we did not want to change the bylaws because the feeling was having a liaison from the board was critical and very important to the PC.
Board, and there's maybe a possibility at that time that maybe one of the board members, myself excluded because I can't be here, I would be more than willing to sit on a PC, but, excluded because I can't be here, I would be more than willing to sit on a PC, but, one of them would be willing to be a PC member, and then we would have to look at the vacated spot, as a temporary spot, so on a
Correct,
reappointment.
and that's what I offered to do. And even though I desire to think I can do a great job, there would be no different than if you chose somebody else to fill both of Mike's roles for the interim. At
We've
the
also
end
got
of-
the issue of the ZBA, because he was on the ZBA, so we've also got this issue coming.
Yeah, the PC, as I understand it, and what Mike said last week at our meeting, is that the role on the zoning board does not have to be a trustee. It can be anybody from the PC, and he has done that, both roles in the past. So it could be me, it could be Rick or Randy or any.
ZBA, so we've also got this issue coming.
Yeah, the PC, as I understand it, and what Mike said last week at our meeting, is that well, certainly, I didn't look at the bylaws, but I'm just relating what was discussed last week.
Right, we will be looking at that. At the
Right,
next
so I
ZBA
think
meeting.
whomever you would decide to appoint as the temporary, we'll call it trustee, as well as the temporary liaison to the planning commission, that would just, no matter who it is, that would terminate at the time of the election. If it were me filling that role, I would simply return to my regular PC seat.
That's correct.
Correct.
It's no different. Mike Tremblay would have been up for election on November 20th. There was, not to say that he would, but I'm sure he would have won the election, but there's a possibility.
Sure.
Then maybe the new supervisor, if I wasn't him, might not be reappointing Mike Tremblay on the PC at the
Sure.
November, after November. So things
Exactly.
can really change during an election year. So,
Right, but I mean, I do believe that the person sitting in the seventh seat on the PC, whether it's, my understanding is whether it's temporary or whether it would be permanent, they have to be a board member. So if you come to us and can tell us the significant things that have been going on, for instance, when, I believe it was last summer, when there was, on things that they think would be beneficial to improve our industrial district.